Okay, we're live. This is our first time doing this live. Um, we're live. Mom's on the right here. I'm Scarlett, Jamie, Roslyn, and we're just going to do some quick hot takes. Well, I guess it's not hot takes because the speech was yesterday, but we're going to talk about President Trump's address to the nation yesterday and a few other things. The Moms for Liberty Restorative Justice 2-hour live seminar yesterday was amazing, and we wanted to discuss that really quick too. So to start, I just am putting what I think is the face of the Democrats yesterday. Like, there you go.
Jump right into it, Scarlett.
Yeah, wow. Like not even any warning.
Yes, this is I think this image can sum up the face of the woke left or Democrats through the whole 2-hour speech. Right here, this individual, the purple-haired sourpuss face of folks who look like they don't really like America very much, and they don't really love Americans because they sat completely still, completely silent through the whole speech. Well, except at the beginning when they were loud and obnoxious.
I'm sorry, Scarlett. I just saw this one comment that says, "Does she live in a gingerbread?"
Yeah, it kind of looks that way, right? Yeah, looks that way.
Sorry.
She's going to eat the children. Yeah.
Like this is. I was questioning.
She's definitely gonna fatten you up. She's gonna fatten you up.
Them. I think this is a female, right? You never know these days. But that look, and they were holding up paddles. I'll find another image of that, but they were holding up paddles the whole night, and they wouldn't even stand for some of the most heartwarming, tear-jerking things that happened. So I'll let you guys have a turn. What impacted you most last night?
Jamie, you want to go?
I mean, I watched it with my whole family, my 3 daughters who are 14, 11, and 7, and my husband. And outside of the consistent commentary from Living with a House of Ladies, and I'm like, shh, I'm trying to hear this. It was. I think I posted on X that like you could see. It was a very stark, drastic difference in between the patriotism and the clapping and the respect that, the American people were showing on one side of the room, and the complete disrespect, from the other side. And, you can't explain that away to kids. Like they were seeing it with their own eyes. And, they loved seeing DJ. They were kind of just like, look how excited he is. And they were blown away that their mom, knows some of the people that were standing there that were recognized. January Littlejohn was there, and all of the families. And so I think that was the most meaningful part, is just, being able to experience it with my kids, and being able to say, look at these people who are here and how President Trump is recognizing them, and the cheering and the clapping and the honoring the families of who have lost family members, whether it was to violent crimes or gender ideology, and then having to say, or not even try to explain it, but to show them, like, there are people in the room who don't support these things. These are not safe people.
President Trump told a story. He told a story of America yesterday. The way his speech was one of the best I've ever seen him give. And then at several intervals, he had real life Americans stand up, and he acknowledged them. DJ, the 13-year-old boy that had brain cancer, to our friend January Littlejohn. There were just so many touching things that happened, and he weaved a story of America. It made me proud to be an American. I was teary-eyed, and my husband was watching with me, and he thought that he said the same thing, like, wow, I'm just so proud to be an American. And then look at these were the Democrats the whole time, stony faced, sneering, just completely disrespectful. What are your thoughts, Rosalind?
Yeah, I want to echo what each of you said, but then, I have this phrase that I try and live by. I don't always do it, is to be slow to know. And so I wondered as I was watching, the lack of support for these American stories, I started to wonder, okay, was it like this last year and I'm just not remembering? So Republicans were not in office or didn't have the lead at the time. And we were in an election cycle heading up. So was it so party drawn on support for everyday Americans and recognizing them? So I went back and watched last year's State of the Union with Biden. And so a couple of things, right? We have Maurice and Candace, who were recognized. Their daughter was 5 last year, and she was at the White House. She survived cancer. So we have a similar story of children this year, right? Where Democrats are intentionally not standing up, not supporting them. Last year, the entire Congress got up and cheered for that family, right? That was bipartisan support for those Americans. We had Tyree Nichols last year, who was killed by 5 Black police officers. We had an entire Congress, an entire room standing up for him and for his parents who were there and giving them support, right? We had Brandon Say, who I couldn't get a good picture on, so I will totally own that I can't confirm or deny whether the entire Congress stood up. We had the father, Doug, whose daughter, Courtney, died from fentanyl and the border crisis. And the entire Congress last year, Democrats and Republicans, stood up for that family and cheered for them. And then and even Paul Pelosi, I could see how McCarthy last year stood up for him and said no to the attacks that happened to him. And so I look at this year, and now I've gone back and I've seen last year, we all stood together as Americans. When we recognize wrong is wrong, we're not worried about who's in power. And what I saw more than anything last night was it was a message to the man at the podium, not the people of America. And that's the disconnect that's what lost you this election, right? Because you are more concerned about a man than the American people. And that's what I saw last night.
That is a really good point. Again, I have images. This was the other side. This is how they behaved when President Trump honored the family of Laken Riley. Like when they wouldn't even clap. They wouldn't acknowledge when the young boy was made aware that he had his acceptance into West Point, who had suffered so much tragedy. Nothing. There's no response.
How do you not get tears of joy for DJ, right? And just that moment with him and Sean, the director of Secret Service, right? Like that is just that is so human and emotional, and that you can't stand up for that. It's a miss.
I know, Roz, you texted me and you were like, "I'm not crying," and I'm like, "I am totally crying."
Well, I showed Jack the video this morning because my son Jack is, he's 12. And so he's watching this and he's like, that's so cool. Like this is a kid his age. He can so relate and see this. And he sees that it's wrong that half of our elected officials are like, nope. The children are watching.
Yeah. I mean, in this image, you could see they could kneel for 18 minutes. This was in 2020, but they couldn't stand for Americans. They could kneel during the whole George Floyd incidents, but they can't stand for true heroes, families that have overcome adversity, for kids that are going to join the military and fight for our country. For a young boy, they would love nothing more than to serve his country in some capacity as police officer, maybe one day Secret Service agent. Now he's an official Secret Service agent. For the girls that are harmed when they play against biological boys in sports, for the moms who have had to rescue their children from gender ideology. It's just sad and it's really disheartening. And I hope that a lot of these people are, in next year, I hope they don't have seats in Congress. I really do. I hope that this image is made into a lot of commercials and a lot of people lose their job next year.
Can I ask you too, what did you think of the response? If I butcher her name, I'm sorry, but Alyssa Stockton, what did you think of their response?
I thought it was it was short, and trying to look at it objectively, it was short, and I think it tried to get to the point, but she said that to take a look at how the people you like vote. And I think that that's really important. Look at how they vote, because she's wearing pink, saying that she is standing up for women. She had just the day before voted to allow boys into girls' sports, men into girls' spaces. In California, grown men are going to be able to sleep in the same area as fifth grade girls because those men identify as women. So she voted for all of that. And so I'm going to look at how she voted, and she talks like she cares about women and girls, and she votes like she doesn't.
Jamie, what about you? Have you seen anything about it?
No, I watched it. I don't know. After the response of the Democrats in the room, like to get up and try to, explain away what we as American people experienced as opposed to what we saw and what we heard from the Democrats. Like, I just don't have time for you. I'm actually tired of talking about the Democrats. I want to talk about all the amazing people in the room that were acknowledged. They look crazy. I love it. Keep looking crazy. Like,
well, for 1 second, let's just play this as a 7-second
keep
clip.
looking insane.
We'll just watch this one time and then we'll look at the good stuff.
Second, hold your elected officials, including me, accountable. Watch how they're voting. Go to town halls and demand they take action. That's as American as apple pie. Second,
and to that,
hold
I
your
agree.
Elected officials.
I agree. Let's hold them accountable. Let's watch how they're voting and demand to take action. That sounds exactly like what we do in Moms for Liberty. So we're all over it.
I do want to give a shout out though on this, right? Like, I might not agree with what she said, but I at least agree with the delivery, right? And I go back to, I'm sorry, like Katie Britt last year, again, I'm comparing apples to like apples. And like, I remember watching Katie Britt last year, bless her heart. She tried so hard, but I couldn't wait more than anything after she went on last year to see the SNL skit as a result. So I commend them for giving. I mean, like, it was such a miss last year, and I will give Elisa the credit where credit is due. She was articulate. She got her points across. She was all about herself. She was saying, what American people need to do, and every American person can take those calls to actions and deliver on them, which, we just demonstrated we're better at now.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was trying to be objective. Objectively, I thought her response was good because she didn't get into the weeds of wokeness. And that's what Democrat or people on the left tend to do. They tend to talk like us when they're on the national stage and when they're trying to get votes. They talk like us, but they vote like woke radicals. And so I'm just going to take her words to heart. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do.
And how they vote.
Mm-hmm. And here's on a good note, we have our friend January Littlejohn, who was sitting, oh my goodness, like right next to Melania Trump and to JD Vance's wife. I don't want to say her name wrong. Usha.
I think that's right.
Usha. Okay. I mean, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to her and find out what her experience was like. But it was so special to see someone who I was literally on the phone with her just 2 days before, because January was helping me get some expert to come testify in Wisconsin on our Do No Harm bill. And she didn't even tell me about this. She's so humble. She's all about the mission. And then to find out, like, oh my God, she's going to be talking with the president, sitting next to the first lady, and and Usha Vance, like, that's pretty amazing. And we could, real quick, I'll put on her. let's hear her.
I'm here just to protect children from irreversible medical harms in the form of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgical interventions that are being performed on young girls.
Yeah, and she's always all about the children. As we all know, every event we go to with her, she will bring her sign, let's talk about detransitioning or detransitioners.
Yeah, that was the Do No Harm rally in December.
Yeah, and I
She's
believe
speaking
she'll
up
be in DC on the 12th for the Detransitioners Day of Awareness. There's going to be a big rally on the 12th, so good for her. Who
But I
else?
think that's the power of the moms too. I want to say, like, I love that you were on the phone with her 2 days before. And like, one of the best things about being a member of Moms for Liberty is the connections that you make. It's like, I need help in this area. How can I get to that? How do I build those relationships? How do I move the needle, not just for, you know, my kids, but like, how do I help you raise your kids? And so it's just such a great weaving of the story and the connectivity that comes from being a member of Moms for Liberty and then getting to know other people who are experiencing similar things.
Yes.
So
What,
what
do you got
about,
next for us, Scarlett?
yeah,
Well,
Scarlett, what's next?
next, I actually, yeah, I wanted to find this. This was to me the most special moment of the whole night. And it was when President Trump said, my message to every child in America is that you are perfect just the way God made you. I thought that was the takeaway of the whole evening, because he took the time, actually quite a bit of time, to talk about these issues that our parents are fighting so hard: gender ideology, these critical theories embedded into our curriculum, teachers acting like they are more knowledgeable than parents, that they know more about our kids than we do, and that are, you know, basically taking their role as educator and deciding to be an activist, recruiting our kids into I think political action and into this kind of cult. So I really appreciated what he had to say. What about you guys?
Jamie, I'll let you go first.
I mean, it was great. It was all the things that we've had, you know, so many moms, as Scarlett mentioned, meeting January. I mean, most recently in the Heritage Foundation's Gender Ideology Summit, we heard from Mom Erin Lee, I think out of Colorado, right? You know, Billboard Chris is out on, you know, corners globally, you know, with this message that kids are not born in the wrong body. There are two sexes. It can be male or female. Like that's the message. And the fact that we are hearing it on this, you know, this national platform now, I don't know if any of us would have imagined that a couple years ago, maybe even a couple months ago, really. It's amazing.
Well, and
Yes.
it resonates with the American people, right? Like I see this poll here that came out, CBS News poll, where 68% of people found the speech hopeful, 54% proud. And then you also look at 74% thought it sounded presidential, 74% found it entertaining, 71% inspirational. So again, like when you get down to the brass tacks of things, like that's where people want to go. They want somebody that they can believe is going to take their country forward, and drawing these clear lines of distinction, like every child is born in the right body, right? Just acknowledging this common sense thing, like I'm not crazy. Like I don't need to hear this. This is not a real thing. Like we need to all wake up, and for him to be leading us there, where do I sign up? Just that's what I voted for.
Yeah. That's right.
Yes. I love this quote, because we are the party, right? Well, we're the movement. I shouldn't say party. We're the movement of common sense. Common sense is seeing things as they are and doing things as they ought to be. And we are seeing things as they are. We're doing things as they ought to be. When I hear that, I think about in August, I watched a little girl who was only 10 years old go before her school board, asking that they not allow boys into the girls' bathrooms and boys into girls' sports. And she was the class president for I think the 5th grade. And she just said that. She said, I know that we're told that, you know, things are different, that this is okay. But she said, I just don't think it's right. I just don't think this is the way things ought to be. And it was so like, it makes me like goosebumps when I hear it, to have like a little girl say, this just isn't the way things ought to be. What's wrong with you adults? And I wish she could come talk to the US Congress and the US Senate. Though I doubt they would listen. They would just sit there with their paddles.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I was, talking to my 7-year-old sitting there last night about the vote, a couple days ago, that all of the people basically in pink suits decided to vote no against keeping men out of women's sports, and that they all think that men should be able to go into women's bathrooms. And she, in her 7-year-old little brain, goes, "That's scary."
It is scary.
And showed her a few pictures of some of our elected officials: Sarah McBride, who is a man, Danica Rome, who is a man, and this is real life. This is what we need to speak into the world. I love your kids call you so much, Scarlett. They love you so much.
I know. I'm going to figure that out. Like, I can't figure out how to. My kids FaceTime me so much that it's.
I love it though. They know that you're there for them.
Yes.
But that's what we want, right? Like my 7-year-old, I wanted her to know, like, I'm here for you. I'm your mom. I'm telling you that this is not okay. This is not normal. So like that sign, I think someone last night was holding the sign that said, "This is not normal." They are actually 100% correct. This is not.
This is not normal. I also wanted to bring up Elon Musk, who just like gets under the skin of the left.
It's so good. It's delicious. It really is. I'm like, more. You can see all of my bank account information. Help me, please. Actually, could you please? Like,
they've sort of like pinned all of their ire on Elon Musk, and then Trump is like, he's here, and he's just kind of waving.
Don't volunteer. Don't volunteer yourself too much, Raz.
Well, at least he's wearing a suit, right? And so I don't know if you guys remember
That's right,
and now he's wearing a suit, right? So box check that. But one of the things when I went back and looked at last year's State of the Union, I'm like, oh, we don't have a UPS driver behind us anymore when we're looking at viewer left. We don't have an M&M, because Kamala Harris would always be poorly dressed. And I felt so bad. I'm like, who is dressing this woman? Like in brown suits to sit in a brown chair. I'm just like,
that was
I know. I'm like, can somebody get her a better stylist, please? Like, what has happened? And so we didn't see that. And I was like, well, this is refreshing not to see an M&M like shaped back there. Right. That's nice.
That was unfortunate for sure.
Yeah, no, we just saw a lot of pink.
That's fine.
A lot of pink.
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
Yeah. I said they should wear brown because they stand for scrotums.
Oh my God. Parts of colons.
Yeah, they shouldn't wear pink. Like
all right,
they pretend to be for women. They don't get to pretend that they're for women. They're not.
That's what they do. They pretend. They're pretenders. So let them pretend. Like whatever. You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah, you're not fooling anyone anymore. And of course, there's this man. And we talked about her a little bit yesterday because Representative Mary Miller correctly referred to this person as Mr. and Gentleman, and they corrected the record for her, put it on official record, even though that's not what she said. And again, just more images. There they are, like on the phone, just, trying not to pay. Oh, here's this.
So one of the things that brought us together, obviously, is Moms for Liberty. And so, Jamie, you have, your mom duty, right? You're multitasking between being here, watching State of Union, teaching and raising your kids the right way. And later today, though, you are going to be mystery reader. What are you going to be reading?
I signed up to be a mystery reader. I'm going to go into lunch with my 7-year-old. She has been asking me, and then I'm staying to be a mystery reader. And so I am bringing in Libby Justice, which was authored by Tiffany Justice and Tina Descovich, co-founders of Moms for Liberty. So I'm going to bring a few books in, but I'm definitely excited to read this story. How exciting that my 7-year-old knows the authors of this book. I mean, she was pen pals for a little while with Tiffany. They've sent a couple of letters back and forth to each other. She was able to meet Tina at the White House when we went to the executive order signing to keep men out of women's sports. And so how exciting for her class that, she still thinks it's cool, when her mom comes into school to help. And not only am I reading a book, but we know the authors. Like, that's exciting. So fun little story. Libby Justice Goes to Williamsburg. I think you can pick this up on Moms for Libraries, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can go to m4lfoundation.org. The number 4L foundation.org.
I remember
which
when
Moms for Libraries is a program of the Moms for Liberty Foundation.
And so it is intended to put classical books that, are grounded in truth and, our founding into libraries across America. And so Jamie in Virginia is doing that there. And I live in Montgomery County, Maryland. And I recently submitted Libby Justice to be evaluated as a free choice reading book. So hopefully our kids in Montgomery County would be able to eventually have it in their libraries to pick up and learn about Libby's experiences in Williamsburg. So M4L. M4lfoundation.org. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to be for something, because sometimes we talk about the books that are in school libraries, which are inappropriate for children. They have content that is simply just unacceptable for young kids, topics that are too controversial, and topics that most parents would prefer to discuss with their kids in their house, reflecting their values. These are books that are wholesome, they're age appropriate, they represent real diversity. They show.
Yeah, we've been able to get a handful of books through the Moms for Libraries programs into our schools. We had most recently Glenn Beck's Chasing Embers book, Great Battles for Boys. We got Tim Scott's book. I think that was, last year, maybe even the year before. So it's a great resource and an addition that we can contribute to our schools. So
yeah, there are a lot of.
To let you know.
There's a lot of good books out there. There's a lot of there's new content being created, and my hope is with Linda McMahon as Secretary of Education that we can focus on new curriculums that are classical curriculums that are not ideological, that instead do the job of educating kids and tell stories again, and tell the important stories, the hero's journey, the things that inspire humanity. And basically, instead of this anti-human, the harm, the things that kids read, sometimes even if it's not disturbing in content, it's just sad or depressing, or it just doesn't make you feel good about yourself or good about being an American, or, they have nothing good to say about Western civilization. And instead, I think you can be diverse and still tell the good story about the great things that our founders did, and while also, as in an age appropriate way, telling the truth. We have to learn from our past, but there's a way to do it. There's an age appropriate way to do it as well. And that's all we've ever said, even though that has gotten misconstrued often.
Shocker, right?
Yeah. Big shock.
Yeah. Who's surprised? And then another big event that Moms for Liberty had last night was the trainings on restorative justice through m4lu.org. So I think you had that to pull up, didn't you, Scarlett?
Yes. Yep. I'm pulling that up right now.
And this is such a timely issue because we are seeing so many issues in schools across America. I actually was at a 2-hour town hall last night dealing with issues of violence and guns in our schools. that, and all of this stems from this corrupt concept of bringing restorative justice into our education system. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday. So for me, in my own life, it is extremely timely that this is launching now. And I was starting to watch some of the recording from last night because, I was doing my mom duty and wearing my mom hat in my community and showing up there. But now I'm just like, I need to make sure my school board members are aware of this. I need to make sure my county council members are aware of this. Like, there's this narrative that restorative justice is this kind solution. And the reality is it's causing irreparable harm. And this is why we're seeing these problems, among other things like SEL, CRT, but restorative justice and how we're handling discipline is a real root of the problem with all the violence and stress that we're seeing in our schools.
And I think a lot of we haven't talked about this enough, and I think we need to talk about it more now, especially considering that with the Trump administration in charge of the Department of Justice, the Department of Education, there is new guidance being rolled out that will roll back restorative justice or PBIS. There's different names for it in schools. And basically what it has done is strip teachers of every tool that they would have in their toolbox. And
it's the MTSS, right? The multi-tiered
systems of support. And PBIS, it's positive behavioral intervention solutions. And some of those have been around a while, but it started with a Dear Colleague letter from Obama. And that's where things really, with the Obama administration, basically saying that it's disproportionality, that there's a disproportionate amount of Black and brown students that are suspended or receive discipline from schools for disturbances or violent action. And so the solution was to just remove all of that, to take that out. And then after George Floyd, there was this huge outcry to take out all the school resource officers. And it's, Chesterton's fence, you don't take something down. You don't just take it down without understanding what you're doing. And that's what happened. We removed all of these things in schools without really understanding, well, what's that going to do? What's going to happen in schools when there isn't a security officer, when there's no ability for taking some kind of corrective action when there is a violent student that's causing a lot of disturbances. And again, like I said yesterday, the kids that are hurt the most are Black kids, are Hispanic kids. I grew up in Milwaukee. I went to Milwaukee public schools. They are predominantly in certain areas with Hispanic kids, Black kids, and, kids that are living in poverty or, right at that level. And so those are the kids that sometimes struggle the most in school. And then to allow a handful of kids that are causing problems to disrupt the learning for an entire school is wrong. It's just wrong.
Unacceptable.
And the kids it's supposed to help.
So I encourage everybody to go to emperlu.org and learn about restorative justice, right? Educate ourselves. It's our responsibility as parents and community members to educate ourselves. Jamie, I'm sorry I cut you off. Go.
No, you didn't cut me off. I was just seeing this. We had there's a comment on the side that just says, "Thank you for standing up for sanity," which I think is, we are pretty good at it. We're doing
one comment at a time, one conversation at a time.
1 ounce of common sense at a time. Yeah, we're struggling too.
I'm a girl dad. Yeah, he's girl dad. And another. Oh, yeah, that's true. Only pure evil could refuse to clap for a kid.
I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. That's absolutely right. Like, you're not going to clap for a kid with cancer who just became a Secret Service agent honorarily. Like,
right.
Yeah, no, that's just, because I try and put myself in that position, and were it Joe Biden giving the speech and honoring someone like that, I would stand, I would clap. I wouldn't.
I think that's a great point. Like, can somebody who didn't stand up and didn't clap and didn't feel that share why? Like, I'm always curious, what is the why? Like, what is the reason that I don't know? Because to me, that's just seems
maybe
like
that's the ask.
That's
why
didn't you stand up?
Well,
Why
I
don't you
know,
stand up? Join us here and tell us why
Tell
you
us.
didn't stand up.
I did see that on was it see one of the talk shows that someone said the reason why they didn't stand up was because Elon Musk had cut the funding for brain cancer research. And let's just hope that that child doesn't commit suicide. That's what they said. Something like that. Something just terrible. It was just awful things.
Well, you know what they should do? They should look into where the funding is actually going when it's donated to cancer research.
Yep.
That's what they should do.
Just like where is the funding actually going for when the IDEA fund that's supposed to be for kids with disabilities? Because they consider a kid with gender dysphoria a kid with disabilities, and they were funneling a lot of money into those kind of DEI programs. Or they considered if you are Black or if you're Puerto Rican like me, that you're disabled, and they were putting money into DEI, critical race theory, which I find offensive. I don't think that your ethnicity makes you automatically disabled, but that falls into critical race theory where, you know, your birth is your destiny. Like you have no ownership over yourself. And that's a horrible thing to tell children and adults alike. So
Yeah, that's wild. Roz, what does your shirt say?
What does my shirt say? It
What are
says,
we wearing today?
she prays, she votes, concerned women for America. So today's Ash Wednesday. I felt like it was the appropriate thing to wear. I got Jack to school. After getting his ashes on, I had to negotiate that he could wipe them off because he's in that awkward middle school age of, I'm not doing this, it'll be embarrassing. And I'm like, you came from ash, and to ash you will return. We meet in the middle. But Peggy,
And eat your whatever you made yesterday. Eat your potato
donut. Eat your
and
potato donuts. Wipe your ashes off. I'm trying to raise a good human. So, but Peggy, what is Peggy's last name? Who runs Concerned Women for America?
Nance.
Peggy Nance. Thank you. Yes, I got this shirt at the RNC when I signed the bus. So very nice. Good job, Peggy.
Awesome.
What does your shirt say, Jamie?
I am day 2 in a row for XXXY Athletics. Free to think, free to speak, and free to move. And I pulled up, Scarlett, I put up the XXXY link. Will you pull that up? Because they have so many great accessories.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that. I actually have that that shirt. I love it.
And that I love, that I can't wait.
And I'll pull it up. There we go. Oh, look at 15% off.
If you're new to XXXY, you get 15% off. There we go.
See,
look, we're looking for our first sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, they have great stuff. I love their t-shirts. I love their t-shirts. They're awesome. They're coming up. Gosh, that's a lot more stuff.
And I did recently ask her about sneakers, like if they're going to put out a line of sneakers anytime. And she said, maybe. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot more stuff. They've got a lot more stuff.
It's by hand.
See if you can go to some of the graphic tees that have.
Okay.
The graphic tees, Scarlett, that have, you know, I mean, it's pretty basic common sense. Save women's sports. Boycott men and women's sports. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Then let's see.
I've heard like their leggings and t-shirts are all. Can you go to the women's like graphic tees?
The women's XX, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, the tops and graphic tees.
There we go. Now this is like their new line, but yeah, I have this one here, the simple logo, Save Women's Sports. But here you get all the graphic. Oh, this is cool. Real Women Rock. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, they just did that partnership with Gays Against Groomers. I mean, they put out a men's line. So
this is cute.
I love it.
Yeah, I wear them all the time. I wear them all the time.
Moms for Liberty has a.
I'm pulling up Air Store next, actually. So There we go. And here's
Perfect.
some of the new Moms for Liberty stuff. Just a second, right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I
Right.
just ordered. I ordered the hat. I have this shirt, and I ordered "Make America Hopeful Again."
With the flame. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, isn't that cool? Hope ignites. That's really cool. So yeah, I
And
just
wasn't
ordered-
last night's speech? I thought last night's speech was hopeful, right? Like that's I'm hopeful for our future. I really am. And I think that that's a great place to be. We need to be critically optimistic. And so I'm just marching forward with that in mind. I'm hopeful and I'm critically optimistic. And so
Yep.
keep up the great work, mamas.
Yeah.
Pleasure to know you.
That's
We're
right.
we're joyful warriors. Oh, and I'm wearing my Moms for Liberty shirt.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
didn't see it behind your name tag.
behind the hair, but yeah, this is the traditional Moms for Liberty shirt, and on the back it says we don't co-parent with the government. I'm really excited to get some of this new merch. I already have the fight t-shirt, but I do feel hopeful. That's how I left the speech yesterday. I felt hopeful. I felt proud to be an American. I felt that, the adults are back in charge. And I just have hope that if we do things like what we're doing right now, and we keep talking to average people, that we can tune out the noise and all the folks that are holding the paddles and wearing pink when they don't actually support women. Tune out the lies and the fake news and the misinformation and see the truth. And the truth is that we have a country that's not perfect, but it's the greatest country in the world, and it does the most good than any other country in the world, and it's worth fighting for, and it's worth passing down to our children.
I mean, on that note,
Yeah, I think that's a good way
Mom's
to
on the right.
I think you're
Got
100%
it right.
right.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to
Mom's
end
on
it.
the right. I gotta run because I have another Zoom meeting and then off to lunch and mystery reader time. So I hope you ladies have a great rest of the day.
Have a great
too.
day and cherish that time because it goes by so fast. I have 5 children, and
I know you have like a dozen FaceTime calls to return, so you gotta go.
yes, I do. I do. They got to the point where they were doing Find My iPhone. That's what my daughters start to do when I don't answer. So they're like, Mom, 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 Mom.
Take care, ladies. Take care,
Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.